Other things like dam safety program, levee safety program, there's green space preservation, there's buyback of competitive flood loss properties, there's building, you get credits for building codes, you get credits for mitigation programs in your community, so lots of different things that you can gain credit for. Right now, in Florida, we pay about $1.2 billion a year in premiums to the flood insurance program. That's pre-Biggert-Waters increase. That number is going to go up, and I don't know what it's going to go. I've asked the question, we pay $1.2 billion now, what's it going to look like in 10 years after all these increases have gone through? The answer is nobody knows yet, because they don't have all the data to figure that out. They still have to do some new math, they still have to get elevation certificates to vote. But it's probably reasonable to assume that those total premiums could be $1.5 billion, $1.8 billion, potentially even $2 billion across the state. So this $1.2 billion is what we paid pre-Biggert-Waters. Based on that number, the discounts we received to date on the community rating system is $191 million. So, around $200 million we saved through participation in the community rating system. That's good. However, we're still leaving $200 million on the table each year by not fully maximizing the discounts we could through the community rating system. If every community in the state has maximum discount, we could save several $100 million a year on our flood insurance policies. Again, very difficult to do, but possible, and we want to continue to move in that direction. Next slide. This is an example of some of the things in there, and I know that's difficult to read. This is just one section of it. This is section 300, which is the outreach portion of the program. And this is one of the areas we're focusing on now because it's easy to do, and it's inexpensive and or free. It's helping to educate citizens about the National Flood Insurance Program, helping them understand what elevation certificates are, what maps look like, doing outreach to community groups, doing it like this one today, where we talk about the National Flood Insurance Program and the community rating system. We talk about public flood protection information being at the library, disclosing the hazards in a community from that flooding, etc. So this is just one page, one little part of that community rating system manual. Next slide. Here's really good news. This is what it looks like in Pinellas County. And this is where you all are frankly the best county in the state right now, and by that, probably the best county in the nation when it comes to participation in the community rating system. Here's what this looks like. Here's the jurisdiction that it broke at the smallest level for the National Flood Insurance Program, and here's Pinellas County for the unincorporated area. This next one is the current class, and the classes are from 10 to 1. 10 means you don't get any discount. 1 means you get the maximum discount. So if you're in a special flood hazard area, that's a 45% discount. So a category 9 is a 5% discount. You don't have any category 9. Category 8, town of Kenneth City, those residents get a 10% discount on their flood insurance policies from the community rating system. 7, which is City of Largo, and several others here, get a 15% discount. And category 6, like here in Gulfport and Dunedin, get a 20% discount. And so yours range from 8 to 6. Other parts of the state range from, we got a lot of folks in like 9, and we've got about 18 or so that are at 5. 5 is the best we've got in the state right now, which is a 25% discount. This is the current score associated with that. This one is the points needed to get to the next level. That's the next level and the total points needed there. And so you can see in some places, we're pretty close to that next level. City of Oldsmar, for example, needs 56 points to get to a category 5. Next one here is 174 for North Bredington, 175 for Pinellas County to get to the next level. So in some cases, and there's, I look at this across the state as well, there's some places, a lot of places that say we just need to nudge just a little bit, and we'll get an additional 5% discount for all of those policy holders in that part of the state as well. So this one is a mixed message for you. 1, congratulations, y'all in jurisdictions are doing a great job. And second, we can do even better. Next slide. This one is a slide I used on Friday night at the Florida Association of Realtors, and it's talking about one of those outreach things. One of the things that we have done in the State Division of Emergency Management is to hire, and at this point have 2 people working full-time on the community rating system. Because before Biggert-Waters, before this started to erupt, the state played very little role in the community rating system. We had 1 person working on flood insurance, our state floodplain manager, kind of served as the liaison for communities who wanted to enroll in the National Flood Insurance Program. But again, I had 1 person doing that for 461 jurisdictions in the state. Primarily it was from the federal level local jurisdiction, and each local jurisdiction has to decide to do work for enrolling in the community rate. But we've recognized an opportunity now that the state can assist everything that you all are doing here in across the state. And we can do that because all the jurisdictions can take credit for something that applies statewide. So if there is a statewide building code, every jurisdiction in the state can take credit and get the points for that statewide building code. If there is a statewide notification system, then every jurisdiction can take credit for those points and apply it towards their points for the community rate. If there is a statewide effort to do outreach to citizens and post all the maps on the website, every jurisdiction can take credit for those points. To this point, there has not been a concerted effort to maximize the points that the state can take credit for. It's kind of been we know these things are going on around the state, we cobble them together, and here's some points you can get for. Right now, though, we're focused on how can we aggressively increase the amount of points that we take credit for as a state that will help everybody improve their participation rate in the community rate. So, in November, I hired a man who was previously the emergency management director for Nassau County, but prior to that, spent 18 years with ISO, which is the organization that administers the community rating system. So he was the smartest person I knew who knew about the community rating system and the National Flood Insurance Program and emergency management. And in the last 2 months, he's been focused on going through that manual and identifying those things that we can do again as a state that we can apply for everybody's credit and try to bump them up without you having to do anything additional at all. And then looking for further opportunities down the road. And we're going to list them through what we can do right now, free and easy, all the way to this is going to cost us some money, we're going to invest on it, and here's what the return on investment is based on the savings we can enjoy extremely this process. And then we're already knocking them out, top to bottom, bringing people on board, all partners on, like the realtors, like the insurers, and everybody else. So that again, we can start moving aggressively in this direction and assisting at the community level. Another thing we're going to do is community outreach, getting our folks out there to help in those communities and really get this going. Where the issue is in the smallest flood insurance communities, it does require some work to get enrolled in this program, to apply for it, to do the paperwork, to collect all the documents, to get the groups together to get those points. And that's why you saw a lot of those counties, the rural counties, not involved in the program because they simply don't have enough people in the flood insurance program, they don't have enough people in their government to do that. And so what we want to try to do again is streamline that process at both the state level and at the federal level, make it easier for them to participate. So they have, if we can really, again, make it as easy as possible for them to enroll and for their citizens to take advantage of this program. But these are the kind of numbers I can show folks. I can go to the realtors and say, realtors, you all are really suffering as a result of the National Flood Insurance Program policy increases. However, there are some things that we can do together to help mitigate those changes. And I was able to talk to them about if we advise people about flood hazards and flood insurance requirements, we can gain 80 points. If we do that statewide, that 80 points translates to $9.6 million in savings. If we disclose flood hazards for a particular property that somebody's looking at, that's $4.2 million. If we simply distribute a brochure, and you all have been met with realtors before, they give you a lot of brochures, if we stick one more in there that talks about this program, that's $1.44 million. That's per year. It's pre-Biggert-Waters numbers. So every year, that number is going to increase because it's based on percentage of the total premium paid. So every year, simply by maintaining this, we can, and working with realtors, we can save around $15 million a year. That will increase over time. And there's lots more opportunities just like this throughout the community rating system manual that we're digging into. It makes a lot more sense on things like this for us to try to do it at a statewide level. If I can do something with the Florida Association of Realtors and try to do it at knockdown at one point for everybody in the state, that saves the effort of 461 individual coordinators trying to do this with all their local realtors. And so this is what we're looking for. What can we as a state do? We'll take the burden off the local level. Everybody can apply the points. Next. That's really my field. We are working right now with Representative Ahern, Senator Brandon, and others to identify what is possible in this upcoming legislative session to help continue this effort. Because we think it really has an opportunity to benefit a lot of people. It's going to benefit the current policyholders in the National Flood Insurance Program because we can get additional discounts for them. That is money they're going to save that will go back into the local economy and help Florida. It's going to help people who are not in the National Flood Insurance Program because, again, some of the efforts we can do to help educate them about flood hazards in their community, things we can do to make their communities more resilient, are going to reduce the efforts we need to do in response and recovery from future floods and disasters, so our communities are going to be a better place to live. As we move forward and explore private insurance in the state of Florida for flooding, it's going to help reduce the rates that those folks want to pay as well, because these things are not going to be limited simply to the federal program. The things that we do will benefit everybody, and making them aware of it, doing additional mitigative actions, that should be reflected in the rates that people pay for private flood insurance as well. So lots of positive aspects coming out of this. We do hope that we are successful in delaying the implementation of some of these rate increases at the federal level, and we'll continue, the governor will continue to push hard for that. However, we will continue to work on this as well, because those discounts will be enjoyed whether the rate increase is going to affect now or later. They're going to apply regardless of the situation. So we're very excited about this opportunity, because again, at the end of the day, the citizens of the state will benefit, both those who hold flood insurance policies and those who not. We're going to further set Florida as a leader when it comes to mitigation and preparing for and responding to floods. And frankly, this is the right thing to do. This is a program that exists today. We simply need to make sure that we're taking full advantage of it in every way that we can. This is some additional information about all of this. FEMA actually does a pretty good job of putting this information out there. It's very complicated. Anybody who's spending time in the National Flood Insurance Program will attest to. But there's additional information about the Biggert-Waters Act, SupFloods.org, FloodSmart. And again, you can Google community rating system and get additional information there. I'll put a bunch of my business cards over here as well for anybody who has any follow-on questions that you don't get a chance to ask me today. But Senator Representative, that concludes my presentation for this morning. I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys have. And what I'd really like to hear is feedback about how we can be of assistance to you locally. Because frankly, we're new to this business. We understand where some of the opportunities lie, but you all have been doing it for a while. So or in my role as state director, take FEMA and help them streamline their processes better. I'm eager to take that information and see how it is that we can do a better job of what we're working on. Yes, sir.
Good morning, Dwight Dudley. That's great news. What about, have we thought about trying to fund a position or whatever, however many positions, to take this out to the cities and different communities to try to maximize our discounts that we can get from the community rating system?
We're working on that right now. We're actually with Senator Brandon and Representative Ahern. I've established two within my division. I took a couple other positions and changed what they were doing to do this. And so I've done some of that already within the Division of Emergency Management. We're a fairly small organization as far as state agencies go. But there certainly is some of the potential, and again, that will be one of the things that we may propose, is that we put more people out in the field to help Pinellas County and all the jurisdictions within Pinellas County to apprise them of the opportunities that exist today, and if they're not in the program, to help basically hold their hand and get them into the program. So yes, additional outreach throughout the state is definitely one of the things that we want to try to do.
Just following up, Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
In terms of funding, do you have any numbers with regard to how to fund a bunch of these things that would make a really significant difference?
We're working on that right now. And in fact, we owe an answer to Representative Ahern and Senator Brandon this week. Some of it's free. You know, some of this stuff working with the realtors is free. Some of it's going to be kind of pricey. When you start buying back competitive flooded properties, when you start doing a statewide notification system, when you start preserving green space, that's going to get us right. Our goal here is to go through that manual, highlight everything we can do, highlight what the price tag is going to be, and then show you what that return on investment is going to be based on premium savings and other savings we can generate, so that you can truly say this is going to cost you $1 million and you'll save $50 million, this one's going to cost you $10 million and you'll save $30 million, so that we can make wise spending decisions and figure out where we want to focus our efforts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Two questions. One, could we all get a copy of your slideshow presentation?
Absolutely, yes.
And number two, those unincorporated areas are, I assume, being affected, their discounts are affected by Pinellas County and Florida. How does that reflect in Pinellas County? What kind of, the unincorporated areas, what category do they fall in?
I think it was on there as 7, if I recall correctly. So Pinellas County, yeah, basically any county in the state covers all of the unincorporated areas. So Anything that's within a town border or a city border is covered by them. If it's an unincorporated part of the county, then the county covers it. But Pinellas County is enrolled at a section.
On the mitigation grant, what can be done to help increase those?
Well, there's a few things. You know, we've got Florida gets after every disaster, Florida gets mitigation dollars. And so every federally declared disaster we have in the state, and we've had quite a few of them in the last 10, 15 years, Florida gets a percentage of that total dollars towards that recovery for mitigation. The good news is Florida is what's called an enhanced mitigation state. Because we do such a good job of our mitigation program and we have additional plans in place, we get 20% for mitigation. So if we have a $100 million disaster, then we get $20 million in mitigation funds. And so everything we get, every federally declared disaster, we're going to get a fifth of it back in addition for mitigation funding. So one of the things we're doing right now is taking a look at the mitigation funding that remains from previous disasters and figuring out how we can apply it to this program. Because we still have some open disasters where funding is available. And we'll also create a strategy for future disasters, for those future floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, et cetera, how we want to use those mitigation dollars and how can we put it towards this program. There are also some static mitigation dollars available, though not nearly as much from the federal government that you get on a recurring basis that we can apply towards this, that are not tied directly to a disaster and that are just from a recurring basis. So we're looking at that as well. And there is some potential, although not a great deal at this point, for state money for this because we do have to match it in certain areas. So we're identifying all of the funding mechanisms currently available with the streams of money that we will have now and will have in the future, how best to apply it to this program to maximize that, creating a strategy for future ones. And then we can also take that as we deliver additional data for you, give you some idea of what we can currently fund today with no additional resources from the state and what would require additional resources from the state and or future federal funds.
Members, any other questions? Thank you.
All right, so thank you. I'll go back.